I'd show you what I would suggest you think about doing for these e-blasts. So basically, here's the problem. All of these blocks are graphics. Basically, they're pictures, right? And they look great, but the problem is that no machines can read these. So for someone who's trying to receive this with any type of device that would render it as text, it just basically comes in as a bunch of blank elements. Of course, you can put the alt tags in and provide information, which you've done, which is great, and that will work for some users. But a potentially cleaner way to do it that would be simpler for you and for a lot of different reasons would be to basically just, if it's text, make it text, or I'll show you another approach. So in other words, here you got Live on Lincoln Music Series image. It's very nice. But this is text block right here. So I would suggest first, can you put this in text and format it in a way that makes you, graphically happy. So let's take a look at what we can do here. And this also has a lot to do with machine reading, SEO, a bunch of other stuff. Basically, if it's not in text, it doesn't exist. So let's just take a look. Long steel band from Trinidad, Calypso. This will also probably save you some time because making all these graphics is pretty time intensive, as it were. So, of course, we're not going to have the fonts that we want to have here. You're going to have more of a built-in kind of default web fonts, and you can certainly play around with those, see if anything is appealing. There's some all these tools, of course, about. But so first off, I would basically play around with that. Can it just be in text and leave it at that? Because then what happens is when you go to make the HTML here, so you say plain text version, when you hit this edit button and you say regenerate, now that line that I just put in will actually show up right here. So now it's actually reading the text, right? So of course, if the whole thing was text, you would have the whole thing would be legible to someone who says, no, I don't want to have the graphics, I just want to have a text-only email. This is going to be legible to any type of disabled person's email reader or that kind of a thing. So this is where it gets into compliance, because right now, let's say you're a site disabled, and you get this email. This is going to be read back to you by a device, and it's going to be reading out the letters, or it's going to be recognizing, it'll say web link https:// which is not so great, versus the Resurrection Steel Orchestra 16-piece multi-generational. So that's really what it's about, is making the text into text. Now, a couple other things. So if you don't like the way that looks, which I would argue is not really the point, and you could certainly spend some time tweaking the various style components here and coming up with something that you like, that was repeatable. But if you don't like that, if that bothers you, then what I would suggest doing is whatever text you include in an email blast, you should create a text block at the end that has all of the text in it. In other words, just make a big long text block with all the dates and times and everything else, because then basically a email reader, text-only reader, it'll just ignore all the images. They won't even exist in that HTML block, in that block of text. It'll just have the block of text. So I would definitely put a block of text there with, and it would format it, but all of this information that's in a graphic, not necessarily the niggly gritty, but 9:45 a.m. Warrior Flow Yoga, Sunday, all this stuff, it would be better if it was in text. Okay. And we don't have to repeat every single thing here. Open Air Tango. This is an image too. Now, another thing that's going on here, a lot of these images are giving you this warning, image is too big, it may obliterate inboxes. So a real simple fix basically just means it's too big. See, it's 1800 pixels wide. And when you have a whole series of very large images, 2000 pixels, whatever, potentially they just get blocked by people's inboxes, which say this is too big, I'm not going to deliver it. So if you get that warning, a real simple fix is you just click on this Let's Fix It. It'll go into a little pop-up. And basically, it will automatically resize it. See, it says right down here, lock dimension is 1200 by 627. You hit Save, and that should fix that. Yeah, now it's gone. See, now it says it's 1200. So if you go into any of these images that are too huge, we're giving you that warning, and that's a really simple fix to make them conform. Okay. Also, generally speaking, like I understand the use of something like this, but for many people this is going to be illegible. It's so small. So you might just the text here. So that's another case of where putting a text block below saying, Spa Eve, Vita Curie Gold Collection, Thursday, May 23rd, 6 to 9 p.m. That'll be a very useful tool for people who just aren't able to read this promotion. And yeah, I think that these steps would be very beneficial. You can set styles in MailChimp, so you can repeat them. I don't typically get into that, but you can go right in here. You can create a style, and then you can apply it to throughout the text blocks. It's a pretty good tool. You can, of course, you can color these boxes. You can put in dividers. You can do various things to make it look more attractive. But we're not going to have a nice access to Gotham or something here. So we're going to have to fake it with something else. Anyway, that's just what I think we should be looking at, and let me know your thoughts. But certainly we need to get into a compliance situation with ADA, and ADA would not, it's not sufficient for us to simply use the alt tags. Okay, I just made a draft here. This is nothing, so you'll see it floating around there. This didn't work on anything that's live for you. Okay. Talk soon. Let me know if you have any questions, and happy to